My name is Phoebe Crane. I'm a criminology student at Swansea University. Today I'll be diving into how the police misuse of force undermines confidence in the police. This vlog will cover why the police use force, permissions granted for such use, circumstances influencing how the police use their force, the problematic nature for such use, the impact on public confidence, effects of these impacts, and a case study on George Floyd. I'm addressing this topic because the police play a vital role in maintaining societal order. However, when there is a lack of trust in police due to misuse of power, order dissolves, which increases crime. The George Floyd case exemplifies this, as we'll discuss later. Analysing disproportionate force is crucial so that it can be understood by forces, reduced where appropriate, and explained to the public with supporting evidence, according to the HMIC FRS in 2021, which stands for Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary and Fire and Rescue Services. This will address it, bring justice to victims, correct police actions, and restore public trust in those meant to protect us. To clarify key terms within this vlog, when we refer to force by the police, as per Waddington in 2000, it's synonyms with exercise and coercion. The level of police force employed depends on the context situation, varying from escorting someone in handcuffs to incapacitation. The force used must be proportionate, reasonable, and aimed at gaining compliance. However, the thin line of this criteria is sometimes confused, leading to a misuse of force. Another term used is monopoly, defined by Collins Coburn Advanced Learners Dictionary in 2023, which states, if a company, person, or state has a monopoly on something, such as an industry, they have complete control over it. Next, we'll be moving on to the main body of the vlog. First of all, by asking, why can/do the police use force? Several laws regulate police use of force, prescribing permissible actions and delineating instances of misuse and unethical force. These include the Criminal Law Act of 1967, the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, also known as PACE, of 1984, the Criminal Justice and Immigration Act of 2008, and common law or case law, which isn't statutory. Under the Criminal Law Act of 1967, the police are legally empowered to use force to prevent or reduce the likelihood of crime. This authority is particularly relevant to making arrests, as the Act specifies a person may use such force as is reasonable in the circumstances in the prevention of crime, or in effecting or assisting in the lawful arrest of offenders or suspected offenders, or other persons unlawfully at large. PACE in 1984 is another significant legislation framework. This act establishes codes of practice defining constables' power to use force, aiming to strike a balance between police powers and public liberties. The codes cover various aspects, including interviews, identification, investigation, stop and search, arrest and detention, which was established by the Home Office in 2023. However, according to the Home Office in 2014, legislation states stop and search powers specifically must be executed fairly, responsibly, with respect, and without unlawful discrimination. Moving on to Section 149 of the Equality Act in 2010, which imposes a duty on officers to consciously strive to eliminate unlawful discrimination, harassment, and victimisation while policing. Failure to adhere to these fundamental principles can lead to questioning the use of powers, particularly stop and search, and diminish these effectiveness. Misuse or abuse of power not only reduces the effectiveness, but also erodes trust and confidence in their work. Despite clear legal guidelines, questions may arise regarding why and how force is misapplied. The next section focuses on circumstances that influence how police use power. Waddington in the 2000s identifies internal and external factors influencing how police wield power. Misuse of force often stems from the blurred lines between what's deemed proportionate and legitimate. The precarious nature of police force arises from their high societal authority and occasionally underestimation by civilians, leading to potential severe consequences. The police and the criminal justice system have significant compliance over society, whereby individuals are forced to do something that they don't necessarily comply to. However, this authority becomes controversial when a wrongful arrest or assault occur, deteriorating public confidence. The police's role as a mechanism for non-negotiable coercive force distribution, as outlined by Bittner in the 1970s and 1990s, and cited in Braudier in 2010, is considered a monopoly protected by various laws. Within the criminal justice system, police enjoy legal protection, occasionally minimising or exempting them from charges for committing crimes. Overall, the UK policing model in the UK is based on policing by consent, outlined by the Pelion principles according to the 9 general instructions. These principles stress public approval/consent to prevent crime and disorder, including the use of force when necessary. The police authority relies on public consent. Withdrawal of support would result in loss of authority. Policing by consent signifies police power from public agreement rather than state power, as per the Home Office. However, individuals, according to Tudor in 2023, cannot personally withdraw consent from the police or the law. However, there will always be differences in opinion, which is challenging for the police force, as it is inevitable that individuals will not consent. Hobbs and Brown in 2023 state the police require public trust and confidence for police by consent in order for it to be effective. The Strategic Police Requirement of 2023 outlined by the Home Office and the R.T. Honsuela Braverman KCMP explores how the Home Secretary states improving trust and confidence in policing is a key objective of the police. The effects of this are influencing compliance and cooperation from society with the police. Moving on to why the use of force is problematic, which is because of several reasons. Waddington in the 2000s noted police are monopolists of force, licensed to exercise coercion over citizens by other citizens. He states the police officer is duty-bound to act in ways that would be exceptional or downright illegal if undertaken by anyone else. This unique authority raises concerns about the thoroughness of the recruitment process and ensuring individuals are fit and trustworthy for such significant responsibilities. The problem of force misuse doesn't address these concerns, leading people to question the disparity in why someone is permitted to do something that another is not. When those with greater power fail to set examples, confidence in the police diminishes, further emphasising the need for accountability and transparency. This is connected to Albert Bandura's 1977 social learning theory, which explains how individuals observe, model and imitate attitudes, behaviours and emotions of those around them, thereby supporting behaviour learning theories. Therefore, this indicates how if the police perform poor behaviour, misusing their power, this will influence others in society to follow suit. Waddington also argues the police are duty-bound and states it's unimaginable to think that any other citizen could find themselves duty-bound premeditatedly to kill fellow citizens as might a firearms officer acting as a sniper. This prompts debates on whether police should have the power to use force, as despite their responsibilities, the act would be considered murder if done by a civilian. Numerous cases of police misuse of force, like the George Floyd incident to be later discussed, raises ethical concerns. The practice of potentially committing murder to prevent one may be viewed as an eye for an eye. The Human Rights Act of 1998, as outlined by the College of Policing in 2013, adds complexity to the use of force. The Act includes critical articles such as Article 2, which is the protection of life and right to life, Article 3, prohibition of torture, and Article 8, the right to a private life and family. Notably, Article 8 also protects physical integrity and individuals' ill treatment, not compliant with the high threshold of ECH Article 3. In the context of police misuse of force, the College of Policing emphasised the requirement that domestic law and ECHR Article 2, 3 and 8 imposes is that, if possible, non-violent means should be used to resolve an incident before force is used. Therefore, mistrust in the police can increase if force is misused, breaching ECHR Article 3. The next section focuses on how the misuse of force undermines confidence in the police, which is for several reasons, such as negative encounters causing civilian fear of the police and a shift towards self-handling situations. This impact is particularly pronounced in the black community, which often faces disproportionate alienation by the police in Western countries, reflected in lower reported confidence levels between 2015 and 2018, according to Minenko and Ditcham in 2022. Cases like Mohammed Hussain, Chris Kabar and Mark Duggan highlight the serious consequences of such disparities. This statement is supported by figures from Mapping Police Violence in 2022, revealing that in the United States, also known as the US, 28% of police killings were of black individuals, despite comprising only 13% of the population. Ethical considerations aside, subjective biases, even within the police force, often override guidance on the appropriate use of force. It is widely known that in the US, thousands of people are shot and killed by the police annually. Contact with the police, as per Myhill and Beek in 2008, significantly influences public confidence. They state that police general behaviour can either foster trust or mistrust. According to studies, people are more likely to trust the police if encounters are perceived as just and fair. Misuse of force undermines this trust. Research also suggests that negative experiences with police conduct, performances, and media representations disproportionately impact confidence and police support, according to Hobbs and Brown in 2023. We lack sufficient information on policing operations due to a lack of urgency and communication. Consent is not measured within the England and Wales Crime Survey, serving it the closest measure. In the UK, questioning consent biased policing is uncommon. It is presented as the norm, and public acceptance follows. Additionally, Mackenzie in 2000 notes a level of secrecy in policing, where societal vulnerability concerns clash with the police's belief in the necessity for secrecy for effecting crime fighting. This secrecy may lead to scepticism about potential police misuse of force and abuse of power. To resolve this issue, the College of Policing's Code of Ethics states transparent policing operations demonstrates the fair use of laws and force. Forces must provide specific data surrounding their use of powers to the Home Office. Section 34 of the Police Reform and Social Responsibility Act of 2011 states the police must be able to access information on their local force to address their local policing. In America, hierarchies of force are displayed as official public documents, stating that these breaches of the document result in disciplinary action. The openness and declared consequences are unlike those of the UK, as they remain a secret document to non-officers. Misuse of force erodes trust in the police, leading to decreased confidence. This decline is linked to perceptions of injustice, increased tension, protests, emotional and psychological impacts, and legal and financial consequences. The public's lack of confidence results in reduced legitimacy, potentially diminishing compliance and cooperation with the police. This counterproductive effect may influence individuals to disregard laws and discourage reporting of crimes, according to the HMIC-FRS of 2021. Other effects include criminal damage, causing rebellions, mistrust in the police, and the potential for protesting. According to the 2020 Crime Survey of England and Wales, public confidence in the police has been on a downward trend from 62% in 2017/2018 to 55% in 2020/2021, according to Brown 2021, and vary by ethnicity and gender. During these times, COVID-19 sparked lockdown in the UK. The George Floyd case vividly illustrates the detrimental impact of police force misuse on the public. Floyd, a 46-year-old man, tragically died in Minnesota during a police arrest. Video evidence showed Derek Chauvin, a white police officer, kneeling on Floyd's neck as he lay restrained on the ground. Floyd pleaded for breath over 20 times, expressing desperation and stating, "You're going to kill me." Witnesses recorded the distressing incident, and as social media has a significant societal influence, instances of police force misuse can quickly erode public confidence when widely circulated. After Floyd became unresponsive, bystanders pleaded with the police to check his pulse, and approximately an hour later he was pronounced dead in hospital. Derek Chauvin has now been charged with murder, according to BBC News 2020. The incident of police brutality, misuse of force, triggered a rebellion and sparked the Black Lives Matter movement. Citizens protested the racism and police brutality exposed in this case. Colston Hall, a building in Bristol, was renamed over links to slavery, according to Phillips in 2020. Additionally, during Bristol protests, the statue of Edward Colston was torn down and chucked in the river. No prosecutions followed, according to the BBC in 2022. This event illustrates the lengths people are willing to go to, including criminal damage, to protest force misuse and prevent its reoccurrence due to a lack of confidence in the police. It exemplifies how misuse of force in the United States has international negative repercussions, which is also illustrated in the case of Stephen Lawrence, and causes mistrust in the police. Moving on to the conclusion. In conclusion, this vlog aims to critically analyse the impact of police force misuse on public confidence. It seeks to highlight the issues, address its unacceptability, and propose preventive measures. By emphasising the importance of only necessary and measured force application, as stated in PACE, the goal is to rebuild trust in the criminal justice system, ensuring a more confident and trusting society. However, overall, the arguments highlighted include how police use of force is governed by numerous statutory and common law because it is required in society for the safety of the public. Highlighting instances of police misuse of permitted force underscores the urgent need for addressing these issues to correct them and restore public confidence in the police and the criminal justice system. The findings suggest that while police have a responsibility to use force when necessary for public safety, there are more ethical approaches to de-escalation. The police play an important role in defending some of our most fundamental human rights. according to the Equality and Human Rights Commission in 2010. Despite their crucial role in defending human rights, when police become the violators of these rights, it raises question about who we can trust. According to the Home Office in 2022, it has become evident that significant and sustained improvements need to be made within the MPS to restore public confidence and legitimacy in the largest police force in the UK, which is the Met Police. This will require inspirational leadership to deliver a demonstrably more professional police force that better reflects the diversity of London itself. Mackenzie in 2000 argues that although constitutionally decisions are made by elected representatives in informed debate, it doesn't automatically imply a valid waiver of the population's right to decide. For future policing, Mackenzie recommends a supra-legal approach to address excessive and unnecessary force, prioritising ethical use over legalistic responses. The focus should be on evaluating the legitimacy of threats and considering alternatives before resorting to force, transcending legal frameworks in a humanistic manner, whilst following the characteristics of existing models such as personal safety and the safety of others. Additionally, the proposal advocates for following the continuum of force, delineating tactical objectives and actions for varied interactions requiring escalation. This guides the police in determining the appropriate force level based on circumstances, as suggested by Mackenzie in the 2000s. Adhering to this guidance enhances police responses to public behaviour, reducing ambiguity and ideally mitigating abuse of force. The goal is to foster trust and confidence in our criminal justice system, according to the UNODC in 2011. Police reform is required. This may include police retraining surrounding human rights principles to compose a framework to ensure a robust system of policing, addressing oversight and accountability. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this vlog has highlighted the important yet under-addressed issue of misuse of force. And finally, the last part of this vlog displays a list of references used to conduct the vlog using information from various resources.